Cheb is a city in the Karlovy Vary region of the Czech Republic, with about 33,000 inhabitants. It is situated on the river Ohře at the foot of one of the spurs of the Smrčiny and near the border with Germany. Prior to 1945, which saw the expulsion of the German-speaking population, the town was the center of the German-speaking region known as Egerland, and was part of the Northern Austro-Bavarian dialect area. The name of the city was in 1061 recorded as Egire. In 1179 it was known as Egra, from 1322 as Eger and the surrounding territory as Regio Egere and Provincia Egrensis, after the 14th century also as Chba. From 1850 it was given the twin official names Vega and Cheb. From 1938 to 1945 it was one of the municipalities in Sudetenland. The twin towns of Chebhof in Germany, Region in the Netherlands, Nizhny Tagil in Russia and Bacin in Vietnam. History. The earliest settlement excavated in the area was a Slavic stronghold at what is now called Jansky Vrch, north of the town centre. In 807 the district of today's Cheb was included in the new Margraviate of East Franconia, which belonged at first to the Babenbergs, but from 906 to the Margraves of Vohburg. Diepol II of Vohburg built the castle about which the town then grew. In 1179 town status was achieved. In 1149, by the marriage of Adelheid of Vohburg to the Emperor Frederick I, Eger came into the possession of the House of Swabia, and remained in the hands of the emperors until the early 13th century, during which time it became an imperial free city. In 1265 it was taken by the King Ottokar II of Bohemia, who retained it for 11 years, after being repeatedly transferred from the one power to the other, according to the preponderance of Bohemia at the empire. The town and territory were finally incorporated into Bohemia in 1322, under John of Bohemia. Several imperial privileges, however, continued to be enjoyed by the town until 1849. On 5 May 1389, during a Reichstag between King Wenceslaus and a group of imperial free cities of southwest Germany, the Peace of Eger was agreed upon. After Wenceslaus had failed to secure his interests in the city, it suffered severely during the Hussite Wars, during the Swedish invasion in 1631 and 1647, and in the War of the Austrian Succession in 1742. In 1634, during the 30 Years' War, Albrecht von Wallenstein was killed here. George of Poder-Brady died 1471. Married his daughter and fathered 2 sons in the city. For the Middle Ages until 1945, the lands around the town were known by the German name Egerland. In 1723, Cheb became a free royal town. The northern quarter of the town was devastated by a large fire in 1809, and many Middle-Age buildings were irreplaceably destroyed. Until 1851, the renowned spa town of Františkovi belonged to the magistrate of Cheb. The carbonated mineral water coming from these springs was delivered to spa visitors residing in Cheb. Geographers of the Austro-Hungarian monarchy proclaimed the nearby 939 meters high Tallinn as the geographical center of Europe. This claim was documented on a copper plaque mounted at the summit. Austrian National Socialism and hence German National Socialism can trace its origins to Cheb when Frankenstein transferred a small newspaper from Vienna to Cheb in 1897. He organized a German workers' congress called the Deutsche Völkische Arbeitertag, which published the 25-point program. The terms of the 1919 Treaty of St. Germain triggered civil unrest between the Sudeten German population and the new Czechoslovak administration, just as in the rest of the Sudetenland. As elsewhere, protests in the town, now officially named Cheb, were eventually suppressed by force. On 3 October 1938, the town was visited by Adolf Hitler. Shortly afterwards, German troops marched into the Sudetenland and seized control. From 1938 until 1945, the town was annexed to Germany. On 1 May 1939, the town split away from the surrounding district to form its own municipal district together with the settlement of Matzelbach, and gave its name to the most westerly of the three administrative regions of the Sudetenland. The administrative seat of the Regierungspresident lay in Karlsbad. However, Cheb was liberated by the 97th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army on 25 April, 1945. After the end of World War II, the region was returned to Czechoslovakia. Under the Beans decrees of the same year, the German-speaking majority of the town was dispossessed of their homes and property, and was forcibly expelled from the country. In 1954, the town of Hamburg in Germany adopted the expelled Sudeten German population from Cheb and the surrounding districts. On 24 August 2001, German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder and Czech Prime Minister Miloš Zeman visited the Regio Egrensis, and received the freedom of the city of Cheb. In 2004, a town twinning agreement was made with Hof in Bavaria. Since the fall of the Iron Curtain, Cheb has also had cordial relationships with the neighboring German towns of Waldsassen and Marktredwitz. Population: 15th century 7,300 inhabitants with about 400 houses, plus 200 in suburbs. 1930 to 31,406 inhabitants, of whom 3,493 were Czech. 1945 to 45,000 inhabitants. 1947 to 14,533 inhabitants, due to the expulsion of ethnic Germans and resettlement of Czechs. 1990 to 29,962 inhabitants, 2005 to 33,462 inhabitants. The current population includes a large group of Vietnamese, whose families were invited to the country as guest workers during the Communist era, and Romani, who were resettled after the Second World War. Main sites: on the rock, to the northwest of the city centre, lies Cheb Castle, built in the 12th century, and now mostly in ruins. The main attractions of the Chapel of St. Erhard and Ursula, the Black Tower and the ruins of a palace, all from around 1180. The chapel has 2 stories. The lower story is in Romanesque style, while the upper story is Gothic. An 8-cornered opening connects the 2 stories. The upper story contains a ribbed vault supported on 4 polygonal columns with statues depicting sins, including a statue of a prostitute and Onan. In the banquet room of this castle, Wallenstein's officers Terzky, Kinsky, Illo and Neumann were assassinated on 25 February 1634. Wallenstein himself was murdered few hours later by Captain Devereux in the Burgomaster's house at the main square. The house, a 15th-century Gothic town hall, was transformed in 1872. It contains many historical relics and antiquities of the town of Cheb. On the marketplace, dating from the 13th century, are a group of houses originating from the late Gothic period known as Spaliček. This distinctive feature of the marketplace is a bazaar complex of 11 houses. The outline of the 2 blocks can still be seen on the oldest existing records of 1472. The greenhouse on the marketplace belonged to the well-known Rendell dynasty, whose family crest lies above the entrance. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe frequently spent time here. The Church of St. Nicholas was established in the 13th century as a three-naved basilica, of which the western portal and the lower part of the tower remain in place. The three-part nave, presbytery and sacristy stem from the Gothic era. After the fire of 1742, the tower was rebuilt with a Baroque cupola, after the design of the indigenous architect Balthasar Neumann. The top of the twin steeples were destroyed by German artillery fire during World War II and restored in summer 2008. The Franciscan church is located in the town centre. The Church of St. Clara was built between 1708 and 1711 according to a design of Christoph Dienzenhofer. Economy. As of 1994 it was common for Germans to shop and spend time in Cheb, and because of this the town developed bilingual signage and currency exchange points. At the time many goods were cheaper in Cheb than in nearby Germany. Surrounding area. The three world-renowned spa towns of Karlovy Vary, Mariánské Lázně and Františkovy Lázně are located nearby Cheb. The German state of Bavaria is easily reached by car via the Svatý Kříž Waldsassen border crossing, while the musically renowned areas of Saxon-Vogtland can be accessed via the Kraslice, Klingenthal and Vogtanov-Schönberg crossings. For walkers, wheelchair users and cyclists, border crossings are present going into Bavaria and Saxony. The early Baroque church of Maria Loreto in Stary Rožnatov is situated 5 kilometers from Cheb. The annex, which had lain in ruins since 1990, has since been renovated through the initiative of an inhabitant of the neighboring town Waldsassen. Notable in this area are several timbered houses in the sparsely populated villages, particularly in Dubrava, 8 kilometers northeast of Cheb. Near the district of Nový Dratov is the popular Sus Nature Reserve. The reserve consists of peat-in moors and springs, with gas-producing moffetts. Cheb Airport, the oldest airport in the country, is located 4-5 kilometers southeast. Attractions near the Bavarian border include the Komorní Hrka and Železná Hrka. These are remains of the most recent Czech volcanoes, which now form the basis of a nature reserve. This area was researched by Goethe. For water sports enthusiasts, 2 reservoirs are of interest: Skalka and Jesenice. Climate. Famous people. Professor Peter Glotz, SPD politician, publicist and media analyst, member of the German Bundestag, born in Cheb in 1939. Heinrich Gradl, historian, born in Cheb in 1842. Johann Habermann, Lutheran theologian, born in 1516. Helmut Lederer, sculptor, born in 1913. Johann Georg Macassius, physician, born 1617. Pavel Nedved, European Footballer of the Year for 2004, born in 1972. Johann Balthasar Neumann, Baroque architect. Dr. Erich Riedel, CSU politician and member of the German Bundestag, born in Cheb 1933. Johann Adam Scherzer, Protestant theologian, born in 1628. Caspar Schlick, born in 1396, who became the Chancellor under 3 different kings and one of the most politically significant figures of the 15th century. Rudolf Serkin, Cheb-born pianist of Jewish-Russian ancestry. Norbert Singer, responsible for many of Porsche's victories at the 24 Hours of Le Mans race. Albrecht von Wallenstein, military leader during 30 Years' War, was killed in Cheb. Johannes Widmann, mathematician, born in 1460. Hugo Zuckermann, born 1881, Zionist pioneer and author of the Austrian Cavalry Song. Notable institutions. Violin-making school. Cheb. Districts. Cheb is divided into the following districts: Breza, Setnov, Dolny Vory, Drenis, Hadj, Horny Vory, Radist, Rožnatov, Cheb, Chigna, Jindrakov, Klest, Lawik, Pelhřimov, Podhory, Podrad, Skalka, Stryzopf, Trs nice.